everywhere, GBS.
Hello viewer, welcome to Chungu Cha Jamii. I'm your host Eunice Mugo. Today on the show we are asking a very sensitive question. Rather, we are talking about abortion and parenting, and we are asking, why is it performed on secret and also on a very high rate? Interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. I'm not alone. I have a guest with me who is going to help us to understand better why is it being done at a very high rate, and what is it we can do to avoid it, and what can we learn? What is the moral of it? I will allow her to introduce herself. Welcome, guest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. My name is Pastor Paul Blessing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a motivational speaker, a life coach, and a mentor to youth and women, and I'm here for this topic. Let us explore.
Thank you so much for coming and honoring our invite, Pastor Paul.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to have you on board. And today we are talking about very sensitive and also very controversial topic on abortion and parenting. There's a very thin line between parenting, for you to accept to be a parent, and also for you not to accept and decide to go for abortion. So to start with, I would want to ask you, why do we have abortions in our society that is very high currently as we are talking? As we are also talking about the young generation and also the senior generation, it's cutting across. Before, and also as we are talking behind scene, we say that abortion is allowed by law when one party is at risk. But in this case, research has it that the party is not at risk, but they're doing it intentionally. Why do we have that?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, as you say, it's surely controversial, and it is not a good thing. And as we sit here, we are sitting on a Christian platform, though we are talking to the cosmos and all religions, of course, because everybody is listening to us. The fact is that life starts at conception, according to me.
Yes.
Immediately, there is conception, that moment. According to me, no difference between that moment and a 50-year-old person. Like today, according to that research, you find that around 2023, 700,000 abortions took place. 700,000 Kenyans died. If today there was a killing of 300 people, we call it genocide. Before God, those are lives. Let us be practical. And that's why even by law, they give room that if the mother is in danger, the baby is in danger, and we have to save what we can see. It is called termination of it to save a life. Or maybe there's a rape case. The law can allow, because there was no consent in this conception. But you find that even now, for example, as you are saying parenting and abortion, you are in marriage already. And maybe you have 2 children and you find that you got pregnant, and you sit down and agree, I don't think we need a child at this time. You are already, you know, sex is a gift of God, both for pleasure in marriage and reproduction. And that's morally right. But now when you sit down as married people and make a decision to terminate a child because you don't think you need that child that time, every time conception takes place, God is involved. We are all thoughts of God. And you come to achieve a purpose by God through your parents. So when they make a decision to terminate you, they are doing it against the will of God. That's according to me. And as I have said, life starts at conception. Whether you do it at 2 days, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, it is killing, according to me. I don't want to condemn people. And there are things that has already happened. But sometimes when we don't correct, we don't say it, it becomes like normal life. And this is wrong. And I was referring to you out of seeing that, and I was telling you that the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 1, around verse 15, when you lift your hands to pray, I turn my face. What do I see? I see blood. Maybe you have not aborted, but I have aborted. And we are in the same church. It becomes a corporate sin. When we lift our hands, God sees what? Sees blood. from the nation, it is what? It is blood. That's why in 8 verse 18 says, when you have cleaned yourself, now come, let us reason together. Even if your sins as red as whatever, I will clean them. You have to accept. But things will continue and it becomes like normal life. Like abortion is a way of family planning. It is not. Sex is there for pleasure in marriage. You can prevent that conception by using family planning methods, which are many. Instead of waiting, you conceive, then you make a decision to terminate that baby. You're killing, according to me. Yes, and that is wrong.
Interesting. You've said something very interesting that I'd want to quote it from there. The statistics has it that 700,000 abortions have been made, and it's no different from at that time under 50-year-old person or whichever age that person is, life is taken. But as we are doing it for one reason or the other, there is now the emotional and physical attachment that comes, even for those who do it by the virtue of saving her life. There are those mothers who say, I'd rather you save my child and not save me. But I also ask, if I save this child and I don't save the mother, how is this child going to survive without the mother? Because the child needs to be breastfed and everything. So maybe you can help clarify on that. And also, if this mother is willing to lose her life and let the child live, in that case, right? That shows how he is attached with this unborn baby, because there is already a bond there. So what are the damages that are done after that abortion has been made, when this parent or this person is thinking like, I don't need this baby now? Like, what are those aftermath in terms of mental health now? What are the effects or the ripple effect that we get to see?
One thing I want to make correct is that the first person to take care of and the life to save is the mother. The baby has not been seen yet. Yeah. So the first, when it comes even to law and even for medics, the most important person to save life is the mother. Not unless maybe the mother is losing the baby while giving birth and leaves the baby. It happens. Maybe you bleed or something happens and we lose the mother. Okay? But when it comes to saving, it is a condition that here we have to save a life. The first person to save is the one you can see with your eyes. You cannot talk about saving the baby and the mother goes. So you look at how can we save the mother. If the baby comes, it's okay. The baby is lost. We have not aired them. But there was a condition that common sense and all laws agree that we need to save one life. Okay? So because in all things, in either cultures or laws or government and even religion, there must be common sense in everything. Okay? So let's say that a mother is lost or the baby is lost. There are people who are attached to their children that even a miscarriage will take them into mental health because there was bond between them and the baby. When they knew they are pregnant, they connected with the child. And even losing it can take that person into mental breakdown. It depends on the bond. But those people who are really doing the abortion, they have no connection at all. Then the other thing in the parenting which we can connect, which is not personally from the person who is doing the abortion, is that you find society, names in the society. Let's say you are a big person in the society or in the church and you have a position. You are leading many people. Then your child gets pregnant. To save and to secure your society name, you want to secretly get this child, willingly or unwillingly, to abort the child for the sake of your name. That is wrong first because it was not a concept of that girl, whether she was raped or she got pregnant. It's good. You never know who that is coming. Me, I usually say, even if someone gets pregnant at 14 and the pregnancy has come, let that child be taken care of. You never know who is coming to your place. Because this girl can get pregnant, and of course, after birth, they go back to school. We have seen people who have done that. I was speaking of a friend of mine. I think I thought about that case again. This lady, she got pregnant when she was in standard 7, those years. And she failed in class 7, repeated. She went into form 4, repeated. And when she had got an admission now to go to university, she got pregnant. And they were just like, Standard 7, you got pregnant. We took care of the child. Now you are supposed to go and you still, what do you want? As she says, she will give birth and go to school. And at last, she retired a very senior person in the government because the parent accepted. So also, the parenting on the part of us parents, when your daughter becomes pregnant, that is not the end of life. And your name is not greater than the child who is coming through here. And also, the dignity of that girl. You can even do abortion and never get a child again. There are consequences along. Though it is being taken like a way of life, it involves a lot. Yes, yes.
True. Now that you've mentioned that one as a story, maybe I can ask, how informed our young people about their reproductive health and also their mental health as well? Because you realize, as you've rightly mentioned, if a girl is at 14 and they end up getting pregnant, the child should be kept. That is so true, and I also do agree. But now, for a 14-year-old child to go and get pregnant, away from rape case, because for a rape case is a discussion that we can't have, and it's a very different topic, because that one has already happened. It's so unfortunate to the girl, but it has happened. But now what happens to these girls that are not raped, but rather have been, how do I put it?
They got into a relationship. Call it so. There's no problem without a relationship. Call it a spade.
I wouldn't want to call it a relationship per se.
Whatever it is, there was born between a man and a woman.
Yes, there was. But in some cases, when you look, because of the inflammation that you have in our society, especially when it comes to monetary, you realize that these young girls, if you're to look at the background story, it's because they were in a relationship for the sake of benefit. So the man was benefiting from sex, so to speak, and the girl is benefiting from something, because in most cases, those young girls are having relationship with senior people in terms of age. And now, simply because it's either this man is providing sanitary towels, it's either this man is providing their school fees, it's either there's something that they feel, I cannot get it from my home, I cannot get it from my parents, but this person is helping me get this thing at ease. So it's like a barter trade or exchange. So you give me yourself, I give you the things that you're not having. So, and they also end up getting pregnant. And in most cases, research has it that they are left. So the moment they get pregnant, this person that got them pregnant, they don't take responsibility, they abandon them. And that is also
mental
what,
breakdown.
Yes, the mental breakdown, they end up being outcast of the society, because now the parent won't agree you to come back, because in the first place, why did you go? And as much as you'll tell your sentiments, they'll still not accept you, because maybe from where you're coming from, it's an abomination. So in such cases, how educated are our young girls in terms of their sex reproductive, and how do we now bring it to them at those ages?
One thing I want to say is that we need to start at home. You know, people don't discuss with their children, their daughters, and their boys about sex. It's like a taboo. Okay? It becomes a taboo to discuss it with them and tell it is wrong. You will find this. Don't go this way. It's just like people discover. Our young people just sit down them and ask them. You find they discover these things. Nobody at all told them, this is what you will come to find. And this is what happens. And these are the consequences. And this is what you can say yes or you can say no. That is not, there are those who do, but majority they don't. You ask them, the young people, they will discover on the way. And nowadays, of course, internet, even when you're opening the Bible, you find everything there. So you see, they discover a lot of things, and their emotions, and they are captured in areas they are not aware about. Okay? So what we are saying is that there's a time, let me just refer to you, just before Corona, there was a time in K24 we were planning to have a show that was meant to talk to below teen. That is 7, 8, and 9 is the making of a person. If that person discovers themselves at that age, who am I? What is my potential? What is my confidence? Where am I going? Where to say yes or no? Because usually in life, until you learn to say no and don't feel guilty, you have not started living. And these people don't know how to say no. They think it's a favor when a man approaches them. And this man is married. He's just looking for pleasure. When they They get them pregnant, they leave them. And now, because they have never discussed with the mother even about sex, even to get home, they will not discover that nobody, she will not even say, I am pregnant. You will see it for yourself. Then there, they start saying, no, this cannot happen here, you have to go. Where is she going? You are still destroying. Okay? So we have to accept as parents, we have to get down and sit and talk about sex at home. Because we call it a taboo, it is a real thing. You sit there, you are a product of sex. If there was no sex, you could not be sitting there. So if we look at it like something that is a taboo, should not be spoken about, they go and discover. They discover the wrong way. By the time they discover, it is pleasure to them, it is distraction to them. Then what are the options around you? Options are abortion. Which abortion? They don't even have money to go to. Even that one which is supposed to be done at the hospital, they don't have the money. Social stigma is there. They do things that end up in destroying their reproductive health. Just because the initial information was not available. Yes.
Interesting. When I listen to you, then a lot of things race to my mind. So before we even came here, I had asked questions around of people concerning this conversation. And also, you have tackled about now the reproductive, and also another question that was asked, what roles does poverty and lack of support plays in the decision of abortion and parenting? And also a question that I'd want also to answer now from what you've discussed that is coming along is how does culture and religious beliefs influence how we view abortion and parenting?
Yes. Religion and culture.
Yes.
Our perception.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, you could be in a religion that you don't know what it carries, its values, because maybe you read 3 scriptures, 4 scriptures, and you don't know much about it, and you think you know. Even cultures. As I was telling behind scene that there are those cultures, they say that before you bring me a woman here and say that she's your wife, get her pregnant so they can know she's reproductive. And men sat down and said, in our family, in our tribe, we don't want barren women. So for her to come here, she must get pregnant first. It became a culture. And it was put as term, it is immorally wrong. Wrong kabisa, immorally. Morally, it is not right. But the culture has accepted and drawn it inside. Until people change their perception, they'll continue to do that. Okay? Christianity is there. There are morals in Christianity. You need to keep yourself clean until marriage. Things happen, and you find that some of the people that maybe it could not be a rape case why someone gets into pregnancy. Maybe you find like during Corona, I don't know what happened during Corona. Pregnancies that were there were from family members. People sat down home, and there was a lot of ignorance. And people were either they were lured into it or they were raped. They don't say it. A lot of things happened because there's ignorance and there's lack of knowledge. And also, teaching these girls about confidence, understanding who you are, and knowing where am I going. That this person, whether they give me 1 million today, where am I going? Can I just hold on and wait and get what is ahead of me? But who is telling them? They discover by themselves. There's geography, there's history. We call it soft skills. It is very important to mentor those minds and tell them, this is the way. This is what you should do. Whether in the religion or the culture, the perception of your mind. You may be in a religion, but your perception is still, your mindset is still wrong. Yeah, you need to change. Yes.
True. I want us to take a break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, I want us to start it off from something that you've mentioned. The example that you've given of a culture that we don't take barren women in our family or in whatever, and then this man has to get a woman pregnant. Now, I'm trying to think out loud that I'd want you maybe to shed some light, or maybe something we can be able to discuss. If, for instance, this family has men to get ladies pregnant for them to be married, how many women will he come across before finding the correct person to get pregnant?
And make all of them pregnant.
If you make all of them pregnant, you'll marry them all. But in this concept, in this case of maybe person 1 did not get pregnant, the second, the third, maybe the fourth is the one getting pregnant. So you have gone through 4 people to get the 4th one pregnant.
Okay, before we go for break, and if the man is the one who is not able to make a woman pregnant?
Thank you. So how many women is he? And then also bringing now the reverse psychology. The reverse psychology of what happens, I'm married to this family. So I got lucky, I got pregnant, and I bore a daughter and not a son. Will my daughter also will this same family accept their daughter to go through the same? That is something yeah, it's a culture, and I don't dispute. Now that is the reverse psychology. Are they allowing their girls to be done the same? If their girls are also going to be married from the same culture, right? Because we can say, for instance, it's culture A. So if culture A is also going to marry culture A, because, you know, culture is very diverse, right? Because we are not saying about family. You're not saying my family. If it's about my family, then my kids cannot maybe be subjected to that because they cannot marry internally. But if it's culture, they are bound to marry each other because it's very wide. So are they going to allow also their own sons from different family to do the same to their own daughters? That's something I want us to think about and maybe answer it when we come back after the break. Okay. Viewer, I hope you're learning as much as I am in terms of about abortion and parenting. Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.
Water remains to be the world's most precious commodity, but is the most misused. In times of drought, saving water is the only solution to making sure you have it. Don't use the shower when water is scarce. Instead, use the basin while bathing. Repair all leaking taps and pipes. Wash your car only whenever necessary. If not, use a piece of cloth to wipe it clean. Do not use the hose pipe to water your garden. Instead, use the water you clean your vegetable with to water your flowers. Do not release wastewater into rivers. Note that your downstream is someone else's upstream. Of all the waters available on Earth, only 1% is fit for human consumption. Every drop counts.
Hello, kids. Did you know a year has 31,557,600 seconds? Why do you think so? Exactly. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 and 25 days in a year. We count the extra 0.25 because of leap years. When you multiply all these numbers together, you get a huge number of seconds. That's why a year feels long, but time still flies when you are having fun.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewer, to Chungu Cha Jamii. Today we are talking about abortion and parenting. What is your take on the same? Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. So, Pastor Paul, before we went on a break, we had said that when we come back, we are starting from this culture or community that was that had sat down and discussed that there are women, they only have to marry fertile women, so to speak. Fertile in terms of they're able to get pregnant. So for them, they don't want barren women. But now, I want us to discuss it from the reverse psychology part of it. If it is a culture, it's very wide. So these girls that are going to be born in these families or in this culture, they are also prone to the same thing. When these people are sitting and reasoning like this, did they think that they're only going to bore sons or also girls as women?
You know, one thing I want you to know, that the people that were forming these cultures, those let them call our ancestors, even in your tribe, there are things they sat down and deliberated and planned and passed like a culture in your tribe, which today they affect people the wrong way. But according to them, their perception, they were the kingmakers of that time. They were the lawmakers of their family. And whatever they thought was the best. And you know, usually they look at the man, the child, the boy child, in those cultures is more important than the girl child. So whether they will do the same to their girl, the most important person here to them is the seed giver, the man. I think that is my perception. Because if you are doing this, it's like maybe they are morals. There are those cultures that you hear that someone is traveling and they become a guest in their home and they are given a woman that night. It is just culturally there to make you happy. They don't protect the morals of their daughters. Those are cultures where God is not, when there is no fear of God. You see, that's why now we say Christianity, when it came, there's correction of those errors, which has to come as a correction, part of the perception. Whether you preach to someone until their mindset gets to accept, understand, what is the Bible saying? What is the value after I do this? What's the word of God? What are the changes that comes? And you find that people start changing when they come to the knowledge of God, and they change. Those cultures are there. Yeah.
Interesting.
They are very bad, but they are still in our country.
If you just look at it and you'll be like, I wouldn't even want to be associated. But again, now this one brings me back to something that I want to ask about. How better can we now support? Now, simply because when you're talking about abortion, in most cases, we are looking at the young girls compared to. But also I'd want us to, but first let us tackle this one. So for these young girls, when they go through abortion, it's also because they're avoiding the stigmatization. And also if they go through with carrying the child and end up being parents, the stigmatization will be there. For instance, if it is a primary child or a high school child, the stigma will be higher. Why? Because in school,
It's a child.
the school also, they'd want to keep, even if it's the culture, the community, the society around this child, they'll pinpoint to say, don't be like so and so. Why? Because at this time they did not do 1, 2, 3, you know, even without wanting, they'll stereotype it even without wanting to know what is the cause reason behind it. So how now do we embrace our young girls for them to be able to see, I would rather not you go through abortion because the risks are so high and also it's not godly. I'd rather you keep the child and also keep this girl safe from stigmatization.
You know, when this girl gives birth, the reproductive health is more safe by giving birth than giving an abortion. And before I forget, I just remembered, and this can be heard and can be help someone. There's an organization here in Nairobi. They are taking people who have got pregnant at early age, and you have a child, they have a school. You come and go back to school, they take care of the child. And I was told to noise it out. So if it is required, I can give you the contact. So there's that they have decided now, there's a lot of early pregnancy. And we are losing women who are very great in our country, who could have become great people just because someone got pregnant and they lost the opportunity to go to school, and they lost even bond with their parents and became a wasted person. But someone has just raised and said, now, those who have got pregnant, come even with the children, have someone to take care of the child and you go back to school. May God bless that person. Because surely pregnancy has happened. Instead of killing and destroying the reproductive health of that person, I'll never advocate abortion. I'll say give birth.
We are having a series on fatherhood.
Yeah.
And the fathers that we are having on board, there's one thing that they shared and said, that pregnancy is not by chance, it's not by accident.
God
You
design.
realize that also in married families, or in a couple that is dating, you're dating, you're also exposed to sex, and then you hear, this is an unwanted pregnancy. You'll hear women say, I didn't plan for this child. I didn't plan for this pregnancy. It's okay you didn't plan, but it has happened. So these fathers also always argue out, they say, being pregnant is not by mistake or by it's not an accident per se. It's God ordained. That is why it happened. Because in most cases, you look at it from the perspective of, I really want to get pregnant at this time, but I'm looking for it, like intentionally looking for it, but I'm not having it. Then when I least expect it, boom. And also those who are not able to give birth, they really, really look for it. For like, we have stories of people who've done it for 7 years, 10 years, then later it comes, even at the verge of giving up or losing hope on the same. So for those now who are like, we say it's a, is it a, not a myth, it's a dilemma, sort of, so to speak, like in a family. For instance, for example, I'm trying to get a child, I'm not able. But my sister is not even struggling to get a child.
When they don't want, they get.
Even when they don't want, like, yani, you realize, I'm just getting pregnant. Like, I have 4 or 5 children, and I'm wondering, I'm really struggling even to put a meal on the table for these 5 children. And here I am, I'm really struggling to get 1 child or even getting the 2nd child. There's that balance. Also that brings, I don't want to call it a joke, but rather something that is said, sarcastically that is said, Mungu bariki hata wengine, umenipatia wengi sana. So how now do you come out from that? A family that is facing both, right? There's me who is having children without even wanting, or rather without planning for them. And afterwards, I'm from that school of thought, I can't abort. So I'm having too many babies that I'm not able to take care of. And also my family is like, you should control yourself. Your giving birth is very high at a high rate. Yeah, cool down, relax. Lea hour will continue later, right? And then on the other hand, there's this other one who is really struggling.
To
and
get
is
at
also,
least one.
Yes, and is also becoming the laugh of the family, or rather someone who is being talked about because the struggle is there. So how now do we bring out these 2 families for them to understand, by the way, this is God's grace and mercy that is upon this person and not here?
There's something, I don't know whether you will believe this, but let me tell you. Even conception is psychological at some times. When you are too anxious to get pregnant, you will miss it. Because your body is like alert. Where is the baby? Then it rejects. But those who even they sit on the street, they have many babies and you wonder, wow, and I'm not getting one. But because you are so much conscious, that's when in counseling, when people don't have children, you are told, relax and wait. Because when you are too conscious now, this is the time I want to get a baby. And that month is like, it is planning season. And you are like, I have to get it. And you are so alert. You become so alert until you shut that pregnancy. And the conception will not take place. You see? And as we have said, it happens. Those who don't want, they get. And those who are looking, they don't get. And also, as you have said, there's something you said about people who are in marriage. They find that this is not the time when we wanted this child. But let me tell you, even there are rape cases. That was God ordained plan. I'm not advocating for rape. There are cases that we even told you one case.
Yes.
Someone who has done so much in the country, and it's a rape case. If that mother aborted that child, where would you have such institutions? And he has written a book and said what happened. So before you run to say, like, you are closing the door and you're saying that this cannot happen, as you have said, the father said, know conception is by mistake. Let me tell you, Jesus was the thought of God, came as a word in the womb of Mary, not by a man. But all of us, we are a thought of God in the womb of our mothers, through our fathers. You are an idea of God to come and achieve a purpose. Whether you come to achieve one, that's why we are told that in burial sites, the greatest wealth is in the burial site. They died before they achieved. Okay? Because you came as a thought of God. There's no mistake. Whether by rape or by exception, you arrived. You had to come here. They were just a channel to bring you. And that's why we usually say that honor your father and your mother. Because they are God's partners into procreation. He made one man and gave them the work to continue.
Allow me to be a devil's advocate. Today I stand before you. I sit before you as the devil.
No, okay, continue. I answer all questions by the grace of God. I'll put you down.
I'm trying to look at this from this perspective,
Yeah.
right? As we are talking about also those who have been raped and they have been able to keep the pregnancy and they've brought forth
And accept
mighty people, right? Now, as this one is happening, in terms of now the rape case, in terms of all this, in families, we have talked about sitting together as with my husband, and we decide we don't want this child at this time, and decide to go for abortion. In some instance, statistics has it, it's the word of mouth, the rumors has it that it's the woman who knows when they want to get pregnant and how to get. That is what is said, right? So if I want to get pregnant and my husband doesn't want us to get pregnant, I'll get pregnant eventually. So the conversation will be, I didn't want this child. I'm told to abort, and I'm like,
there are many who say that.
I'm not ready to abort. But now, when this child is growing up, is going to be rejected in the sense of he or she is unwanted. And they don't want, the father doesn't want this child. So when they grow up, there's that rejection part of it. And you realize rejection is also spiritual. So if you're rejected, then all your steps, all your cycles, equal your rejection. Now, how do you help this person when they grow up? Because rejection has no gender. It could be female, it could be male, right? And also when they grow up, these things affect them.
They affect them.
How do you reconcile them back to their parents?
Let me start by saying that even before the child knows that the father did not like them, the subconscious commands the conscious. As I told you, that child in the womb has ears. It's a spirit. It has ears. So the child will know that my parents fought about me coming. My father did not like me. He wanted maybe a boy or he wanted a girl. And that's why you are finding some of these issues of, you find that a young man starts, maybe, I'm not against plaiting the hair or using earrings, but most of them you find that the mother wanted a girl so much, and she spoke about it, and the child in their subconscious had and knew, unless I behave like a girl, I'll never be accepted. So within that rejection, they will start behaving like a girl, and you will start fighting it, and you said it. Subconscious commands the conscious. They know what you think. There was a case, by the way, I had a particular case of where a woman got pregnant, they got the first child, and the husband wanted the second child. And when she got pregnant, she was told, that is your carelessness. And it was so bad, the man wanted even to kill the woman. And it was so bad, the son could see it, but they separated. When the girl that was born was about 3 months. So when the girl is now 7, the girl is demanding, I need to see my father. But the boy is saying, our father wanted to kill our mother, I don't want to see him. Because the boy saw. The girl was more, as she was the problem. You see? So those things are there, and the rejection. So this girl will demand to see the father. Though the abortion did not take place. And the mother is so pain, has a lot of pain that this man even wanted to kill me because I got pregnant. He's the one who got you pregnant. Said, you have to abort. She said no. You see? So these two things, as you are saying, there need to be reconciliation of these people coming together again and accept each other. There must be dialogue. Because it's something that is in the mind. You rejected. The child knew they are rejected. They have suffered rejection. Some without knowing, why do I feel rejected? You tried even to take pills and you tried everything to abort that child. The abortion not go through. That child will be born with rejection. Whether you give them cars and buy them jets, they are rejected until you realize. And usually, this is a spiritual thing. It needs maybe to be broken by coming to knowledge. Sit down. You know what? I tried to abort you. I want you to forgive me.
How can you have such a conversation?
Me, I can.
Hey, only you can.
Let me ask you.
I can have a poll on
You
that.
not abort you. You are here. I tried to abort you even 4
Can
times.
you do a reverse psychology? Would you appreciate it when your mother comes to tell you at your age things are not working out because I wanted to abort you at an early age? Yo.
I understand there was someone who was crying at 50 years saying, they told me my mother wanted to abort me. But you lived 50 years. You forgive them.
It's not easy, madam.
Let me tell you, that woman is the one who accepted you to come here on earth. Whether I say no
it's
or
not
no.
that woman. Please, this is God. Because he tried. She tried. Literally tried. You know, it's crushing. If my mother was today tell me, I tried aborting you 10 times, ukakataa kutoka. What does that tell me? Okay, it tells me I'm a survivor. I pushed
No,
you. Yes.
you are not a survivor.
No.
God ordained that you be here.
Yes.
So now, so that you can be able to, let me tell you, so that you can be able to overcome what you are going through behind the scene. This is the problem. Now, as your mother, can we discuss? I tried to abort you, but God saved you. Can we accept that it was a mistake I was trying, but God ordained you to be here? Can we accept this and overcome it so that rejection can come out of your life?
It makes sense. Honestly, it makes sense. It does make a lot of sense if you're having this dialogue as mature people. But you can imagine what this person has gone through only to come. Like the one who said for 50 years. If he or she has gone through a lot of hardships for those 50 years, only to be told at 50.
At 50, what are you talking about?
At 50, unaniambia nini at 50? You're telling me to start at 0.
Let me ask you a question. Have you heard someone who is 30, 40 saying that they are orphans? Have you heard them?
Yeah.
How are you an orphan? An orphan is a child. A child is below 18. After that, you take care of yourself. How are you an orphan? How? How are you an orphan? Let us be practical in life. You know, you're trying to massage things.
No. I think that one comes from the perspective of I was not born, but I was raised up as an orphan. So you still associate yourself with
But you need to come out of it so that you can live.
That one makes a lot of sense because
I told you the issue is what?
The mindset.
The mindset. Because that is what will cause you now to, like, you have been born again today. That's what we call rebirth in salvation. You come out of perception and your cultures and all that. You come unto Christ. You are born again. You stand on a different platform. Your perception according to the word of God. And you are cleansed. This also is very important. The emotional part of your life. There's something in my life. Like myself. My mother was not married by my father. And when I was even a head of family, a woman of God by prophecy called me. The Lord said, your father is somewhere. His name is so-and-so. I went to look for him. I found him at his home. Told him my mother's name is so-and-so. And this is my name. Do you know me? Yes, you're my daughter. It's like salvation. I was so happy to know him. You don't know. Let me tell you, if you don't know your father, go and look for him.
No. Wait,
identity
you're
crisis.
having a lot of single parents when you say this. Wait,
Let me tell you.
This is Pastor Paul's blessings ideology. It has nothing to do with us.
Whether you are single, whether you are married, you are given that pregnancy by a man.
I want us to take a break, and when he comes back, we'll talk from this controversial.
You better call me again because I'm carrying too much. I'm carrying too much.
I hope you're learning as much as I am. Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.
And for the topic of the day is self-awareness and sisterhood. Self-awareness and sisterhood.
People know they're self-aware, but if you don't know how to act on it, then you're not really as self-aware as you think.
I usually say garbage in, garbage out, and whatever. You cannot give what you don't have. So impact yourself first and work on yourself. If you feel like they're draining you, well and good.
By the way, kuna kijana, unajua Ian amekuwa akinichanganya nini, and I really want us to be together. Uniambia, Ian, acha nikwambie, ufanye hivi na hivi na hivi. Alafu tunakuja friend dinner or something, na kuna una turn up na Ian, are you mad?
You know, as adulting is adulting, right now is the real intentionality that comes in. But if you are self-aware as a person, you get to now be intentional with ask. Kama mmekuwa distant, you can reach out.
Today's game is sing the artist song, right? Sing the artist song.
Nyashinski!
Aya basi,
Twende nalo.
Uko sana, wote malaika
Aibo,
na mabawa
aibo,
ya,
aibo.
wote wanakita wendo mama ya.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewer, to Chungu Cha Jamii. Today we are talking about abortion and parenting, and we are asking, why is it done on the secret, and why are people choosing to go through abortion? Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. So, Pastor Paul, before we went on a break, we are in this part of, you've given you part of
Subconscious and
this,
conscious.
no, this one of by prophecy you were told your dad is here, you went, met,
Ah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like salvation. You embraced it.
I'm very
Now,
happy.
I'm from this school of thought. Allow me. You've given us also a story of this family that separated simply because the man didn't want the child, but the mother did not abort and had a daughter. And now this daughter has grown up and wants to go to look for the dad. I'm using that as a case story. I don't know how it ended up, but they want to look and to know about the dad. And the brother is saying, no, I saw dad rejecting you and didn't want you, and that is why we are here and we are no longer together. Now, what is the possibility of this girl insisting to go and look for the dad and find the dad saying, oh, come to me, you're my daughter, welcome home. And going and say, oh, I don't know you, because in the first place they didn't
Mine
want.
said he knows me and he embraced me.
For you now, that one I'm happy for you. When you look even in research and statistics, it always not, it happens, but not in a high rate. But nowadays it's coming out highly, right? Because at some point you'll realize maybe it's the mother who didn't want to be associated with the father, or they had their differences, they separated, has been looking for you, but didn't get the chance you get. For such cases, you'll be embraced. But for this case, this one that we just using it as a case study here, that he knew he's here, she's here, but doesn't want, and it has led to separation. What are the chances when you go back that you are going to be embraced? What are the chances
You'll be rejected.
you'll be, to me, where I'm seated, if it led to separation, I'm from the school of law, the rejection is going to be there. And I'm also crying to this child. I'm crying for this child whereby you've already been warned. You've been told like this. But again, wanasema, mtoto akilelewa wembe mpe. So the mother will agree at this case because for the sake of peace, you think I'm lying? Go. What happens if you are rejected?
In fact, the case, the way she was bringing it out, I think it was my Nan Kingangi's case,
Okay.
And she called, and she's writing, I think, a book about it. And she said that what she has decided is that she didn't know where the man is because they separated and went different ways. But there was a number the man was using to send money. So she used the DCI or whatever to track to know where that man is. So that if she feels it's ready, she will do. Even if she will have to go and look for the grandfathers and show the daughter, this is where you come from. I have no interest. You see? Because the daughter is like on her case. But the age for her, she said, when the girl gets to 7 is when she will take her there. It's still too early. But the girl is on her case. No rest. I want to know my father. You see? There are children who get bonded by where they come from. Like that. So we don't know what will happen. The woman is saying that I have no peace about this issue. My daughter is on my case. I need to know my father. I see other girls with their father. Whether he is a murderer or whatever he is my father. I want to see him.
This one that we'll never agree on, but maybe for the sake of misunderstanding. What happens to the child who is really looking for identity? Because also this one also brings in terms of identity,
crisis,
wanting to be identified and also getting to know your roots and where you're coming from. Now, what happens to these issues of one night stand, of not knowing where your father is? Your mother has no idea
even where that.
In such case, how now do you help such a young person?
That's what I'm saying, that there are people who are very close with their children, that you can even tell them, let me tell you the truth. I cannot tell about your father. That will tell you that he was killed by a lorry. So those things are there because you don't want to say the truth. But depending on your relationship with your children, if there is, like me, I didn't involve my mother when I went. I didn't involve him. I just went and looked for the place. And I found him.
How did you
find him? Do you know what the most interesting part of it?
How did you know the name? How did you know where to find him? Unless when it DCI.
Mine was a prophetic thing. A woman of God was sent to me by God. This is the name of that man. And you need to see him, he need to bless you. Do you know? And even he told me how he wears. I had not seen him. So I called a cousin of my mother. I know he knows. And of course, our old pastor. I want to know. Can you tell me where I would find my father? He gave me direction. And I went. Do you know, it was very interesting. After we boarded it, we had a very good time. We ate together. I enjoyed every moment. And there was a decision I wanted to make in life. I will not talk about it. A very big decision to make in life. And I told him, this is what I want to do. Now that I've known you are my father, give me your blessing to do it, if you accept. And he said, I have had you. Go do it. You have my blessings. Do you know what happened? After 1 month, he was sickly. He was old and he was sickly. After 1 month, he called me. I'm in Nairobi. Come, I introduce you to one of my sons who lives in Nairobi. You have a house. He gave me direction. It was on a Thursday. He told, this is my daughter. I knew your mother before I knew your mother. Do you know, it was on Thursday. On Monday, the guy died. My new brother called me. Our father is dead. We went and buried him. God wanted me to see my father, receive the blessing. Go and bury him. I have his blessings. Don't stay here calling yourself Jerry Wanjoki.
Ouch.
Go and look for your father.
No. On that Jerry Wanjoki thing, so to speak, I do understand where you're coming from. But we are having children growing up from a broken family. And this broken family, if they see the father not being respectful to the mother, not being present, you understand? There's that differences. Then they grow up and they're like, I don't want to be associated with my dad for 1, 2, 3 reasons. And when they are going to register themselves to get their ID, they choose not to use
wrong identity.
They choose not to use their father's name, but they'd rather stick with their mother's name. They're like,
Let me answer that. your roots. I told you, a woman carries. A woman has no child. I'm a woman. A woman does not have a child. A child belongs to the father. The seed belongs to the father. Okay? That is the blood that flows in your veins, whether you reject it or not. You better know it. There are traits and behaviors that you are in your life. You don't know how to deal with them because you have never seen. When I went to that burial, I'm telling you, you'll get married by your brothers if you are not careful. I saw people who look like me. It was an amazing thing. I've never seen them. They, like, everybody looks like me. Whether aunties, whether cousins. I was just like, what is this? Hey, you can stretch yourself. Listen to me. It is my practical case. I went to that burial. It was like a movie. I didn't tell anybody I'm talking it on air. I kept quiet. I saw people. Let me tell you, people are getting married to their sisters and their brothers.
I have a question on you on the same.
Yes.
How did that family embrace you? Now that your dad has passed on, and it's only your brother who has been told by your dad, this is your sister. I knew the mother before I knew your mother, and you guys are related.
I don't need any brace. I was above a brace. What do I need from them? I don't need anything from them. Mine was to bond with my father, bury him, get the blessings. I'm gone. What I carried there, let me tell you, no man can give me. Even you meet King Charles today, what your father, biological father, when he speaks, God, go ahead and let the Lord bless you. Nobody can give you that. It is his blood flowing in your veins, not in your key.
But I think this one is also, I think this one we cannot go to agree. It's an agree to disagree matter. And I'm being told
No, you're just being emotional. Let us be practical and accept roots. Women have no roots.
We are running out of time.
Yeah, it is okay. But just accept that women have no roots. Roots belong to the Father.
Hey.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's the service today.
Nitatafuta roots. Hata mimi nakuwa na roots. So your parting shot?
My parting shot is that the Bible says, honor your father and your mother that you may live long and shall be well with you. Your wellness and your long life is rooted to the father that you don't know. Go and look for him. My parting shot.
Unajua umechange topic imetoka kwa abortion na irudi kwa roots.
Okay, sorry. You know I have that burden for parenting, for parents. Okay, let me go to the abortion issue. Okay, let me give my parting shot now. Today we are talking about abortion and parenting. The issue of sitting down and agreeing that this pregnancy is not on time, we don't have a child at this time, it is not godly. Let us remember God is watching. That we may have a genocide of 300 people and make it a noise. But we are having a 700,000 people died without names. Before God, our hands are not clean. Can we just come back and repent and stop what we are doing? It is not good, it is not godly, and it's not taking us the right way. May the Lord have mercy on us and clean our nation from that blood. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for honoring our invite and coming to have this interesting conversation. Viewer, let's continue this conversation online across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. Till next time, have a nice time. Goodbye.
Everywhere, GBS.